Hey guys, Vince here, back again with another Supercoach video. Today it's the round 5 review, where we've come out with a pretty decent score of 2,352. We went up 11,562 places, and now we're sitting 13,691, so it's not too bad. We're trending in the positive direction. Another 11,000 places up is very nice. We started the season off around 50,000. So yeah, we're trending in the right direction. I'm happy with the trades we're making. I'm happy with how the team is progressing. We'll jump into it, take a bit of a look at it. Ignore this. This should update in a second. I did just have a bit of a play around when I looked through everything before we jumped into it. First of all, we'll go over last week's trades. Obviously, if you did watch the video, we brought in Sinclair for Doherty, and we actually went Will Day out for Pickett. I do want to kind of get Will Day back in the team. This could be a potential mistake in the sense that if I brought in Van Rule, a lot more points on the field, and we lose 5 points to Chandler, which isn't really the end of the world there. With Sinclair, obviously could have been a Stewart, and then there's 45 points on the board as well. So potentially left some points on the table in the sense of my trade. Stewart was, hindsight, you look at it, Stewart obviously had a good break even coming in the West Coast. I did think that Geelong would win, so the ball's less in down back, so not as many points for Stewart to get, but he came out with a really good score there. Sinclair, I did feel like Collingwood would give up points to defenders, and that's how it was trending. We did give up a lot of points to Wilkie, and Sinclair was actually on 78 at halftime, so that's a massive score, and it was looking really good. Unfortunately, I couldn't even tell you what happened to him. He got 3 disposals in the third quarter and went back in points, and then picked up like 12-ish in the last quarter. 78 and 1.5 is insane. I thought he was really trending for like a 120 minimum, and then ended up on a 90, so it's a little bit frustrating considering his early game. Sorry about that, guys, just a quick edit as the dogs were barking, but obviously I did just watch back, and what happened with Sinclair was he did get pushed into the midfield, which was, kind of frustrating in the sense that when he was behind the ball, and obviously the way the game went, his defenders got a lot of points. He was taking kick-ins, getting points that way, intercept marks, just run and carry, and just doing the classic Sinclair things. And then he got pushed into the midfield. I saw him around Tom Mitchell, things like that. He did get a nice clearance towards the end of the game, which I thought would have been worth a decent amount of points. Maybe that's where his 12 points came from, because I don't think I saw him touch the ball in the final quarter outside of that. So yeah, it was just a bit frustrating to see 78 points in in a half of footy, and then 12 in the second half. Very, very frustrating as an owner. Personally, the reason I did go Sinclair over Stewart is I just didn't think Stewart would be playing every single game for the rest of the season, where I think Sinclair's durability means that he will be. So I thought in the total point sense, Sinclair is the better choice. Obviously, as I said, break-evens and whatnot, Stewart's obviously gone up a lot. Sinclair had a break-even about 160, so he's gone down about 30k. So I guess price-wise, we lost out. I was hoping that total points-wise it will be better. And look, you can't judge it off one game, but it's just a bit frustrating that I think Sinclair could have definitely outperformed Stewart this week, and then I just don't really know what happened. If anything, St Kilda lost the game in that second half. So I don't know if that was a result of Sinclair getting pushed up onto the ball, or that he just wasn't getting the ball behind the play, so they pushed him onto the ball to get him involved. He did get burnt a bit with his teammates not giving him the ball, which also frustrating, especially when the ball is spending so much time in their defense line. One sec. Sorry about that, guys. So that's the frustrating thing there. Pickett really just didn't see us coming. I mean, Essendon winning was kind of surprising, full stop. And I think what we're going to see in these Melbourne games is when Melbourne are losing, they're going to spend more time with Clary in the mid, Petrarca in the mid. They're going to have their superstars in there to try and win these games. And because of that, Pickett unfortunately just didn't really get the midfield time he had been in the first 2 games. Didn't really get the ball much at all. He did kick 2 goals in like the first half, and I don't think kicked 1 for the rest of the game. That's a little annoying that last week he goes out, kicks 5 behinds and got a 90 in the sense that he just was very up on the ball and got possessions. This game doesn't really get the possessions, doesn't really get up on the ball, and it looked like Pickett of last season, which we weren't picking him for that. We were picking him for that midfield time that would get him that elevated score. I definitely saw him in the midfield here and there, but he just didn't really get the ball when he did have the midfield time early on. And then obviously in the second half, it just when the game started losing, he just got none. So that's a bit unfortunate that that happened. As I mentioned, Van Rule, if I went down the Van Rule last week, would have banked a lot of money to make an upgrade this week. And then I would have played Chandler on field and only lost out on 5 points. So the points to money loss wasn't much. I did just expect a bigger game from Pickett overall. If we had an extra 30 points on Pickett, I would be pretty happy with this. But unfortunately, that's not the case, which is also quite annoying. So my trades, unfortunately, didn't really work out, but the core team we sort of built has been standing up recently. Dawson, we put the VC on him, being obviously gather week. I didn't think Adelaide I didn't think they would win, but I thought they would definitely give us a good showing. Dawson showed last week he'd play, like when he played in the midfield, he's a really good scorer, so you thought we'd see him there again. And then just really stepped up for gather week, which was really, really cool. So put the VC on him and just got the bank that, which was really nice. Dacos would have been my captain choice after that. I mean, the funny thing here is a lot of players went quite well this week. Obviously, Neil went really big. Bontempelli went big. You had Dunkley go big. Sean Darcy went pretty good. Like, you had a lot of good scores that, as much as Dawson's 152 feels amazing, like that's the biggest score I had on my team, and I captained it. So that's a massive win for me. But, if this was one of those weeks where Bont, Dunkley, all of those guys were much closer to the 110 mark, this would have felt even better because you significantly outscore anyone that didn't captain him. Unfortunately, it's unfortunate, but it's not unfortunate, is that there was a lot of players that scored really well. Obviously, English being another one of those. As I said, Neil not in my team, and it's just because of that, a lot of people would have got good VCs that, if you had Bonta's VC, you only really had a 7-point difference between me and you. If you had Dunkley's VC, you only missed out on 19 points. So it wasn't as punishing this week because a lot of players went really big, which, hey, I had a fair few of those players, so I can't be too unhappy. Obviously got a really good score out of it. But yet, I mean, look, as I said, really can't be unhappy with that. I guess key points here. Dacos, obviously a ball magnet. Dawson played amazing. Jimby got managed and taken off. Bont had a great game. Bont had a really good looking game and then didn't really score at one point in the game. I forgot. I wasn't watching the game actively, but I was looking at the scores as the game was happening. And I think I watched the first half of the game, and then second half, something happened. I don't know if it was like the third quarter or fourth quarter, but there was a long period of time where Bont just didn't score. So this could have been a much bigger score. So that's at least a positive. It's hard to say. It's positive in the sense that I'm sure a lot of people might have had the VC on him or potential captaincy on him. But at the same time, he's in my team, so I do want him to do well. Green 97, which was a bit unders. I thought he had a really, really hot start to that game. But unfortunately just didn't carry the points across. Goulden 88. Hopper had a massive game, so that's awesome. This is probably a pretty core point in my team. We have Setterfield, Hopper, Ash, and Warple. So we have the 4 mid prices there. And whichever one underperforms the most is probably closest to the chopping block. Setterfield had another 91, so we're very happy with that. Hopper had a 115, we're very happy with that. Warple without Will Day had 100. And also Mackenzie not in the team either because, well, he was a sub, so he got on for a bit. But more or less, Warple just had more midfield minutes, and without Will Day there, he definitely had a much bigger score. So he's definitely impacted directly by Will Day. Will Day will be out again this week, so he should come out with another good score, and you'll have his cash flow flowing for a little bit. Ash had the 81. Now, the only thing here with Ash is that I can obviously flip him into the defense line now, which makes things a lot easier when moving the pieces around. So that's nice and cool. We did run Ashcroft as an emergency, as you can see, just because we had the Davy loop. I thought there's no harm in putting Ashcroft as an emergency. If for some reason he gets injured or flops and drops like a 30, we could just put Baker on field and be very happy with that. So drop the 72, we obviously take that. Mackenzie has destroyed his cash gen with this 14 from the sub game. So he is on the chopping block for who we will be moving out. And then my ruck line went really well and forward line pretty good too. But the DPP is in, which is really cool. The only thing that's kind of crazy here is there's just like none that really matter. Like none that matter in the sense that it's like really game changing for the current situation. There's not a midfielder like last season where we had Bont and stuff moving down where it's like, okay, these guys are now F1, you need them. It didn't affect the top premium forwards because nobody really moved in and took that role. Same with defense. Nobody really moved in and took these premium roles. All it did is really fill up the flexibility of like Sheasel, Zeeble, Ash, these players to be able to be moved around. Mackenzie's got forward status now, which, you know, that's all it's really done here. So it's not as impactful this season, but it just makes it easier to move the team around. Now, what I'm thinking is Mackenzie does have to go this week, personally. I just think he has to go. Like, we could keep him if he gets proper game time. He might be able to restart his cash gen and make a little bit more money. But I don't really see him making much more money than what he's currently made. And you're going to have to hold him for a fair few weeks to make that money purely because he's got this 14 in his cycle now. So he's just got to go. It's just as simple as that. Easy. Get him out. Sorry guys, dog's really barky at the moment, so I'm just going to quickly edit this again. So, as I was saying, just get Mackenzie out of the team, so we hit the trade button there. And the easiest way to do this is probably look at a rookie that we can get by looking at just break evens. So with the midfielders, there's nobody that really stands out to us, so we do want a bit of TPP. What we can do is if we do just say, let's move Constable down, that opens up the defense line. Nobody really in defense that we want. Seamus had a pretty good game, which is cool. If he gets another good game, then he could be a downgrade option next week. But we're going to use the DPP of Sheasel here, flip him into the back line. Forwards, Dylan Williams, not bad looking. Definitely could be an option here, especially into West Coast if he gets another game. And then the other one is potentially Moyle, from obviously Gold Coast, who's been filling in for Wits. So I guess they're the ones that are available to us. I don't really like the Moyle move, if I had to be honest. I would prefer to go for Dylan Williams, assuming he holds this position. They are into West Coast this week as a forward, so could score some points. I didn't really see what happened. Sorry, dog's barking again, guys. But there's just going to be a few edits in this, and we just got to get over it, okay, guys? So I appreciate that. So Dylan Williams is who I'm thinking there. Bring him in. It's 188k, and this is where the problem is that I did go Pickett instead of Van Rule. We could have had Chandler on field, which maybe it's not as much scoring, but it would have put an extra 230 in the bank. And then 400k here, we could easily upgrade anyone to anything, basically. We could go one of these mid-prices. Could go Jimby up, could go Ash up. And basically get in whoever we want. So that would have been nice. I'm just going to complete this for the meantime. I will have to sort of assess it through the week and see what my options are here. Because with this kind of money, it's not really going to work. But what I will just, I guess, show you guys what I would be looking at. I don't think we're holding one more week for upgrades. We would be looking at upgrades and players that we want. Personally, Neil had obviously a great game. This could be a bit points chasey though, going after Neil. He has a nice low break even of 90 coming into GWS. The only thing with Neil is that his run right now looks mental. So GWS, who obviously haven't been good. Freo, who haven't been good. Carlton, who gave up a ton of points to Doherty, so crazy. Essendon actually have been better, but historically have given up points. It's hard to look at it historically because Neil's been so good so many seasons that he has a big score against every team. But then also Gold Coast, Adelaide, Hawthorn. Like, I don't know, I'm looking at this run, and let's just assume Essendon and Carlton slow him down. Cool. The with the way Carlton's playing, maybe it's more odds that Adelaide slow him down. Either way, Hawthorn, Gold Coast, Freo, GWS. There's 4 games there that you think he's going probably 130 plus at minimum, and potentially could do that in these 3 games easily as well. So I think Neil's an unbelievably good target to aim for. The other target we would potentially aim for, Miller in a similar boat that he's broke even isn't as low, but he does come into North this week, and then Richmond, who obviously give up points, and then he comes into West Coast. So 3 games in the next 4 where he could very easily score a lot of points. So yeah, definitely something to consider there as well. So they're sort of what I'm looking at. There was one other I wanted to be looking at, actually, I think. And then Zachy Merritt. There we go. There's the other one that I mentioned last week. Coming into Gold Coast in the Anzac Day game. Break even 89, so nice and low as well. He's already gone down his 40k. He didn't really go down much this week. He's just looking really good this season. Yeah, I mean, look, the Anzac Day game, I don't know. Essendon players always seem to go big against us in the Anzac Day game, but saying that, we are a pretty good team at the moment. I guess Geelong's also there, who I just don't have a read on at the moment. Port gave up a lot of points to Bont, but won. Brisbane maybe constricting. Maybe I could be looking at getting Merritt later on down the track when he's playing Richmond. So I don't think Merritt's as much of a rush right now. Maybe grab him in a few weeks. So that's why I'm looking at Neil and Touk. Obviously, Clary hasn't really dropped in any price. He had a bit of a lower game this week, which should mean that his break-even 168. Then again, coming into Richmond, could definitely score well. Then North, then Gold Coast, then Hawks. Those are 4 games where points are just leaked to midfielders. And he could go really big. And then even Freo after that. So the next 6. Port just gave up a ton of points to Bont. Oh, man. Yeah, the run's so scary right now that you would love to get Clary in. Maybe we can hold for a week. Hope that he doesn't go big against Richmond. Let him drop him some price and then try and get him in. It's very expensive, though. And that's the problem. Being very expensive is obviously 188k isn't going to get us to him. If I wanted to, as I said, probably the one I would look at is probably Ash, just because money-wise, it's only looking at someone that's 580. I would have to make another downgrade. I'd have to make a boost, move on someone else as a downgrade, which there wasn't really many good targets to bring in as rookies, and then we can bring in someone like a Neil. So that's what I'm thinking. I'll need to ponder it over this week and figure out what to do. But I guess before we go into this any further, we'll just go over, I guess, captain options for the week. Just going to make this team look nice and how it should look. Baker should have the E with Constable. Yeah, Constable here. We can definitely flip across. Captains. Well, I think Bont looks pretty good just because Freo been not good. It's hard to say. Bont's definitely an option here. I don't know if Rosie's an option. I don't think Rosie's an option here. Neil definitely could be an option as a VC. And that's the other one here right now. Dawson and Laird could be great options too. And then even Oliver into Richmond, and then Dacos has just been so reliable. So I think I want to put the C on Dacos just to feel safe as. But then the question comes in, is it Bont? If I do bring in Neil, do I then be putting it on Neil? If I do, I'm not going to bring in Oliver, but if you have Oliver, definitely looks really, really good. Personally, I would be super happy with that. Even Grundy into this would be really, really nice. Unless Max Gorn does play. If he gets up, then maybe not Grundy. If he doesn't, then Grundy. But I guess you'd be pretty happy with Oliver anyway. Touk could definitely be an option as well. There's a lot of good captain's options this week. There's a lot of games that could have these premiums absolutely explode. So a bit scary in that sense. Super hard to choose on the captain option, but yeah, you got a lot of options there to choose from, guys. So many options that it's hard to say any of them are wrong because they all have so much potential, but at the same time, a wrong captain option could actually be really detrimental because there's so many players that could go really big. And if 2, 3 of these players end up going 160 or something like that, and the captain you end up choosing only goes a 120, then that's pretty painful for the everyone else that managed to get the captaincy on those guys. So yeah, I guess that's just something that needs to be considered here. But look, this is what I'll leave it at for now. I will contemplate through the week. I'll probably do a video at the end of the week, just another quick fiver, just to tell you with what I have decided on at the end of the day. So yeah, thanks for tuning in, everyone. Hopefully your weeks went well. Tell me how your trades are doing. I try and get back to those comments when they get in. But yeah, I appreciate everyone for showing up. So thank you so much, guys. If you're not already, I appreciate the subscribe to follow the journey. But till the next video, guys, peace later.